Welcome everyone to today's webinar. I am Aaliyah Pavla with Becker's Healthcare. We will begin today's webinar with a presentation and we'll have time at the end of the hour for a question and answer session. You can submit any questions you have throughout the webinar by typing them into your control panel in the space labeled Enter a Question for Staff and clicking Send. We are looking forward to hearing your questions. Additionally, in about a week following the webinar, we will be sending you a copy of the presentation to the email you used to register. At this time, it is now my pleasure to start today's webinar by introducing our presenters. Jono Scott is the Regional Sales Director at Scorpion Healthcare, where he helps healthcare clients develop strategic and effective online marketing strategies for growing their organizations and attracting the right patients. Before joining Scorpion over 4 years ago, Jono played a major role in building 2 startup businesses, which provided him with important insight into the process of marketing organizations at various stages of their development. Rod Thomas is a Regional Sales Director at Scorpion Healthcare, where he helps healthcare providers gain a strategic advantage online. Rod works extensively with health systems, medical providers, and addiction treatment centers on developing customized digital marketing strategies to achieve their business goals by effectively leveraging Scorpion's resources, technology, and expertise. A graduate of Northwestern University, Rod considers his greatest accomplishment being a husband and a dad. Jono, I'll now turn the floor over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Beckers. So the title of today's webinar is Are You Missing Out? Today we're going to share a marketing trend in the marketplace today and how your orthopedic practice can go online and attract more patients. Another introduction, my name is Jono Scott, and again, I am the Regional Sales Director for Healthcare here at Scorpion. I've been working with digital marketing for almost 6 years now, and I've been at Scorpion for over 4 years, focused specifically on the healthcare industry. Again, we mentioned this before, but I've helped single physicians, small and large group practices, and hospitals and healthcare systems really develop customized, successful digital strategies. Joining me is my colleague, Rod Thomas. So Rod is going to be monitoring things behind the scenes. Rod is also the Director of Sales here at Scorpion Healthcare. Rod's been at Scorpion for just over 2 years now and also works with a wide variety of healthcare organizations, spanning from critical access hospitals to large healthcare systems, as well as orthopedic practices and addiction treatment centers and everything in between. We really want to do our best to make this session as interactive as possible. So please feel free just to leave your comments, questions for Rod as they come up, and he's going to do his best to answer those questions and make this as interactive as possible. Also, stay with us till the end of the presentation, as we do have a couple of offerings that you guys might find valuable for your marketing endeavors. Stay with us and let's dive into it. So first of all, I really want to set the scene before we jump into this. Really want to put some context behind what we're talking about today. The world has changed, right? And the world continues to change at a rapid pace. It's December and I have my Christmas tree downstairs. We're all talking to ourselves and saying, man, where did the year go? The world is changing. It continues to do so at a rapid pace. And so does the digital marketing world. Nobody goes online anymore. We all carry these devices around in our pockets called cell phones. These devices are now an extension of ourselves and they do not leave our side. Most of you on this webinar today will pick up your cell phone, right? You may answer an email, you may check Facebook, Instagram, read the sports news, look at your stock price. You may search something on Google to verify what I'm saying. These devices are an extension of ourselves. They do not leave our side. Mobile traffic and searches now outweigh desktop computers. And if you look at the reports, most have around a 70-30 split, mobile to desktop. It's astronomical. And the attention is here. And to be successful in 2019, your orthopedic practice must master where the attention is or be mastered by it. It's as simple as that. I want to tell you a quick story about Perry Elizabeth. Perry is the beautiful daughter of our senior VP here at Scorpion, Brian, and a good friend of mine also. Perry was born February 19th, 2017. And unfortunately, Perry was born with bilateral clubfoot, right? And the story goes, Brian and his lovely wife were in a hospital in Dallas, Texas. Perry was born. She comes out. Brian looks down, sees her beautiful smile, and he's happy. He's to the moon. He's like, yeah, this is awesome. And then he looks down and he realizes something is not quite right. And he notices, in his words, that his baby is broken. And as you can imagine, his heart sunk. So he calls over the doctors, he calls over the nurses and says, hey guys, what's wrong with my Perry? What's wrong with her legs? Nobody told me about this beforehand. Naturally, the doctor picks up Perry and whisks her away to another room, and the nurse follows. Brian's standing there wondering what is going on. And as the doctor and nurse are taking Perry away, the nurse turns around and says, don't worry, Brian, it's just bilateral clubfoot, and then continues to follow the doctor off into the other room. As you can imagine, at this point in time, his wife is still on the operating table. His newborn baby is off in another room. He is at maximum uncertainty. He's freaking out. He doesn't know what to do. The doctors are not answering his questions. They're too busy. So what does he do? He pulls out his cell phone and he literally types in Clubfoot help Dallas. Now, anyone that knows Brian, this is really, really funny, but Brian is actually a journalist major. Right? And for him just to type in Clubfoot help Dallas, it really says something about his uncertainty. He's not thinking clearly. He's like, what did the nurse tell me? Clubfoot help. I need help. I live in Dallas. And then, he puts that in the search engine. And what does he come across? He comes across an ad for Scottish Rite Hospital. Now, it is worth mentioning that at this point in time, he's at another hospital that is not associated with Scottish Rite. He's at the direct competitor. What does he do? He clicks on that ad, and he comes across a landing page. He comes across a landing page that delivers answers to his questions. They communicate what the situation is that he is facing right now. He scrolls down the landing page and he comes across Wyatt's story. He looks at this video and notices Wyatt has is in a very similar situation to Perry. What does he do? He fast forwards to the end of the video, doesn't have time to watch the entire video, and sees that Wyatt is now walking again. Boom, that's enough for him. Puts his cell phone in his pocket. He now feels better about himself. He's like, okay, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm going to put my cell phone away. I'm going to focus on my wife. I'm going to focus on the situation at hand right now. What does he do when he gets home? Of course, he calls Scottish Rite Hospital. Why? Because Scottish Rite Hospital was there for him during his time of need. The doctors were too busy to answer his questions. Scottish Rite did. They answered his questions on a cell phone in the competitions OR, right? Picks up the phone, calls Scottish Rite, and Perry goes and gets the care there. Now, I'm sure this hospital in Dallas has the doctors and the staff and have the experience and expertise to be able to deliver the care that Perry needs, but they didn't connect during that time that Brian needed to reduce his uncertainty. But the point of the story here, guys, is that first impressions happen everywhere. They happen thousands of times per day. They happen in your competition's waiting room. They happen in your waiting room. They happen on the cycling track, the golf course, the rugby field, the soccer field. They happen in Walmart. They happen everywhere. They happen thousands of times per day because we carry these devices around in our pocket. And to be successful in 2018, 2019, and beyond, you need to make an impression. Scottish Rite made an impression. They earned the business of Brian. So how do you make an impression? How do you go out there and how do you do this? Well, you have to market, right? It seems straightforward, but if you're not marketing your services, how can you make an impression? If you're not getting in front of that user base, then there's no way you can make an impression on them. But we also have to ask ourselves, what is marketing? It seems pretty straightforward, but not everyone can really grasp the concept of what marketing actually is. Marketing is not advertising, right? Marketing is not a billboard. It's not a display ad. It's not an ad in Time magazine. That's not what marketing is. Marketing is not video. It's not just about getting in front of the camera and talking about yourself. It's not design. It's not branding, right? It's not words on paper. It's not keywords. It's not negative keywords. It's not your message. That's not marketing. These are the tools of marketing, right? These are the tools to get you from A to B to C to D or whatever that is. Marketing is about making a connection. It's about making your patients feel comfortable about you and your practice and what you provide so they pick up the phone and schedule an appointment. Because ultimately, that's what you're trying to do. And if you're focused on the tools of marketing, you're not going to be successful. People can see right through that. When people are shopping around for healthcare, they are at they're in a very volatile state. It's not like going online and shopping for an iPad or a MacBook. That's fun. Shopping for healthcare is not fun, right? So making a connection allows a better conversion rate for you guys with your marketing dollar. And guess what? Making a connection actually requires many high quality touch points in many different places. It takes more than a website and SEO to win. It takes a well thought out strategy that encompasses many different places on the web. The consumer journey is different for everyone, right? There are many different touch points. There's many different entry points. Some people use Facebook. Some people use Instagram. Some people read ESPN, where some people read Food Network. The journey for every different person that you're going after is different. So to be successful, you have to have many different touch points that actually connect along that patient's journey. And this is the same for attracting new patients, but it's also the same for your referrals as well. Often we think the referral process is really straightforward and it looks like the diagram on the left, right? You go see your doctor, they diagnose the general problem, they refer you to a specialist, boom, done. Yes, I've got a new patient. But really, that is not the case in 2018, 2019. In fact, the referral process looks like the diagram on the right-hand side. Once you get a referral, they don't just call you, right? They go home, they think about it, they go online, they do their research, they shop around. They look at the doctor's reviews, they look over your website, they read some blog posts, some content, reviews. They also visit your competition. They are trying to justify this decision that they are about to make before they make it. They need to feel comfortable because the decisions that you make when it comes to your healthcare can have very, very real effects, right? It's not like you're at Best Buy and you buy something and you keep the receipt and you can take it back. If you're cut open and you have an artificial knee implant that's not working out, man, that's a long road to get that fixed. If you fail to connect with your patients during this process, you will lose these patients before they even come in the door. Go after new patients, connect with them, but also protect your referral sources. You're spending all this time, money, energy, and resources on building these relationships, so make sure you continue to keep those patients. Protect your brand, make a connection. Why? Because those that connect win, right? Whether it's connecting with your potential new patients, connecting with your referrals, connecting with your local community, or connecting with your patients looking for the competition even. Those that connect win. Case in point, got us right, made a connection with this father at a very important time. They reduced his uncertainty. They made him feel comfortable about the situation that he is in. And there is a huge opportunity for you in the marketplace to win more patients because, quite frankly, very few people are doing a good job, especially in the orthopedic space, at connecting with patients. Go out, think about this, make sure that the priority is connecting, and you will win. I want to stop it here for a few seconds before we dive into this a little bit more. And I want to ask for some feedback. What are you getting from this? What are your thoughts on the importance of connecting with your local patient base? Write that in the chat box and, have a conversation with Rod. Let us know how you feel. So where do you start? We talked about the importance of connecting, right? So how do you connect? How do you put all this together? Well, first of all, you have to get out of your head, right? Get out of your head. Robotic assisted surgery made me famous. To be honest and to be quite frank, as a consumer and potential patient, I cringe when I see this billboard. Honestly, I see this, and the first thing that I would worry about as a potential patient is this doctor's bedside manner. I don't know why, it just comes across that way. He could be the nicest guy and have the best bedside manner in the world, but I can't tell that from that advertisement. Remember, first impressions matter. The word famous feels so self-centered. It feels so self-serving. I got famous for doing X, Y, and Z, so you should use me. Come here, right? Think about that for a second. Think about how that would make you feel. The messaging that you put out there in the marketplace should not and never be about you. You are not the hero. Your patients are the heroes. They are the ones taking the step to seek help. They are the ones willing to pick up the phone. They are the ones willing to turn their lives around, fight the pain, sit on a hospital bed. They're the ones that are willing to pay their bill. And the messaging should reflect it. Doing so will be the first step in connecting with those patients that you're looking to go after. Get out of your head. Don't feed that ego. Step back, think through this entire process, and put yourself in the consumer's shoes. Establish your patients as the heroes and your clinic as the guide. Only then, and only once you get out of your head, are you ready to sit down and build a playbook to win the game. So how do you build a playbook, right? So you've got out of your head, you've got a blank state of mind. How do you do this? Well, it seems so simple, right? But oftentimes it never gets done. You got to sit down and you have to do this. You have to spend some time on this. You have to interview key stakeholders, ask questions, and get the lay of the land. Be inquisitive. Figure out what you're trying to do. Then sit down, define your business goals, and understand how marketing is going to help you reach these goals. Without this, you're running into the wind. You'll be surprised how many conversations we have when we ask what you're trying to achieve from a business standpoint. And the answer is, I want a fluffy new website. I want a page and a banner image to look like this. I want to be #1 on Google for everything. That is not a business goal. And if that is your goal, you are going to be unsuccessful. Sit down and understand how many new patients you need to bring in from your marketing endeavors. How many new patients does a particular doctor need to have to be busy around the clock, right? Ask those questions. What specific procedures do you guys need to bring into the orthopedic practice? Are there certain procedures that make you guys money? Are there certain procedures that you don't make money on, right? Understanding all of this stuff is going to allow you to put a plan in place to go after and get these new patients in the door. Make sure that these business goals are achievable and they are measurable. Once we have our business goals in place, then we can go away and we can construct a persona. You need to construct a persona for all of these different goals that you have. If you're going after multiple different procedures, you need to have a different persona for each of those procedures, right? A knee replacement patient may look very, very different to someone that needs a hip replacement. Construct that persona. It will allow you to connect better with that population base that you're going after. What is the age range? Who typically comes in for these types of procedures? Go back, look at your records. Do some research. Understand what typical age groups come in for those types of procedures that you're going after. Are they male? Are they females? Is it 50-50 split? More males coming in for knee surgery because they're more active and on the weekend? How does that look? Where do they live? Right? Are there certain zip codes these patients are coming from? Are they in higher income areas? How much money do they earn? What types of jobs do they have? Constructing a persona, again, allows you to connect. What types of activities do these people like? Are they rugby players? Are they soccer players? Do they do cycling? Do they play golf? Do they like foodnetwork.com, ESPN.com? The more information that you have here, the better off your marketing campaign is going to be down the track. Ask these questions, lay it all out, and leverage the data that you have based on the patients that you've seen in the past. So you've defined your business goals, you've constructed a persona. Now it's ready to figure out. You're ready to figure out where you're going to deliver your message. And this all has to go back to your business goals and persona, right? So first of all, the demographic. Where do these people live? Do they live in Orange County or do they live in Compton? Because those are very different audiences. Orange County, certain zip codes, they're typically higher income individuals. It might be a good place for you guys to target. Think about that. And then ask yourself what the average patient revenue is for these patients that you're looking to market to. Sometimes it does not make sense to market for certain services that you're going after. Think about that, understand that, have a metric for that. And then work out what your average cost, what your cost per acquisition could be. Figure it out, leverage data to do this as well. But also ask yourself the question, what am I willing to pay for a patient getting X, right? So if a patient is worth $10,000 to you guys after all said and done, if they come in for a surgery, what are you willing to pay for that patient? Are you willing to pay $500, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000? Assuming that that patient is the ideal patient that is going to net you guys X, then have that, lay that out, because that's going to allow you guys to establish a budget. Write your playbook down, spend some time on this, interview key stakeholders, and make sure that these goals are realistic and measurable. Have short-term and long-term goals. If you start here and this is the foundation of your marketing, you will be successful. The next piece of the puzzle is, you've thought through everything and you're ready to find the right marketing and communication channels for you to start from. Remember, these are all connecting points across the patient journey. This is always going to be evolving. So what you start with here might not be where you end up 1 year from now. The worst thing you can do when running any marketing campaign is be stagnant, is set it and forget it. Do not do that, right? You want to be efficient. You want to be strategic. You want to be measuring and adjusting. Some things to consider, though, when you're finding the right connecting point is you need to consider that there is a large array of digital channels that you can deliver your message from. It's not just Google. It's not just Facebook. It's not just, Yahoo or whatever that it'll be, right? There's a whole bunch of channels out there in the marketplace, and these channels that are coming into the fray every day. Each channel has its unique capabilities. They have unique costs. They have their limits. So not every channel is going to be a viable solution for everything that you're going after. But, some of these channels may be more beneficial than others when you're going after certain procedures. Look at this data and understand this. Also note that managing multiple campaigns across multiple channels can get very complex quickly. Make sure that you're partnering with someone. Make sure you have an understanding of this before you dive in, because you can burn through your marketing dollar very, very quickly if this is not set up right. Determine what your options are, determine what your costs are, and take everything back to your desired outcome. Go back to your business goals. Go back to the personas. Everything must go back to that original plan and that original, those original business goals that you've laid out and you've written down. Each channel has its own unique equations, so leverage data. Again, leverage a partner that can help if you can. So you've defined your business goals and you've clearly laid out the strategy, right? You understand this. Yep, we've got a grant. This is where we want to go. What next? And people aren't going to like this, but you need to revamp your website. Oftentimes, practices develop their website first, then they try to build their marketing strategy around what they have already built out. This is counterintuitive. Remember, marketing is about connecting, and your website is your number one connecting point. This is the first time someone really gets to be introduced to your brand. If you connect with someone on Facebook and you did a great job there, and then they visit your website, you can lose that connection very, very quickly. You need to make sure that you have your marketing campaign developed and established first, and that your website coincides with that marketing campaign. It all funnels and it all works together. Ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself, is it modern and up to date? Right? I mean, it seems so basic, but ask yourself, have a look around, look at the competition. Is it patient-centric, or are you talking about yourself? Is it all about the doctors, or is it all about your patients? Are you positioning your patients as the heroes? Are you establishing trust? Because that's the biggest thing in the healthcare industry. Connecting, making an impression, and establishing trust in your brand. It takes a lot to come in and willingly get yourself cut open for a procedure. Establish trust. Are there clear calls to action on your website? Is it easy? How is the design and functionality? And I think the most important thing here is your website nimble, right? Are you able to make updates to your website on the fly? Do you have a content management system that allows you to look at the data that you're seeing and then make adjustments to your website based on what's working and what's not? If your website is not nimble, then you're going to be spending all this money on marketing and they may not be converting. And if it takes you 3 months to update a certain page on your website, by the time you get that page updated, you're ready to move on and make a completely different, change to your website. Make sure that your website is nimble and that you have the means to be able to update it quickly, so you're not burning money on marketing, because the website is going to be that place that converts all of these visitors into new patients. Make sure that that's up to scratch. The next piece of the puzzle is some tactics, right? Some tools or some channels to go after. And we're going to talk about a few of these, but there are multiple different channels out there in the marketplace that can be a viable solution depending on what your goals are and depending on what your business goals are. But at the very least, you should be doing paid search. You should be doing display and social media, content, online reputation, and listings management. At the very least, you should be looking at all of these different channels and putting together and devising a robust strategy for you and your business. So we're going to go over a couple of these channels. Connection point number one. Now, these are in no particular order, but the first piece is paid search. Paid or search or PPC is where you dictate to the search engines where you show up and where. You have far more granular control and more space to deliver your marketing message. It's as simple as that. PPC is great for getting in front of your audience who are shopping for your services that you provide. They have high intent. They are looking for solutions. They are looking to answers to their questions now. And if you can do this right, you can replicate what Scottish Rite Hospital did for Brian in his situation. Search engine optimization is important as well, but there is only a small amount of real estate on any given search page, right? And the data shows that click-through rates for the top organic ranking has dropped more than 55% in the past 2 years. And this is going to continue to drop. And there's a lot of competition vying for that first SEO ranking. To be successful in 2018, 2019, you should be focused on running a strategic paid advertising campaign, but supporting this strategy and campaign with SEO, particularly because the continued rise of mobile usage and what that click-through rate is for the top SEO ranking. I challenge you now, pick up your phone, I know it's right next to you, and do a Google search, right? So search for something simple like shoes, and look how much real estate those paid ads take up, and how much you have to scroll down on your mobile device to get to that first SEO ranking. Remember, it's almost a 70-30 split now, mobile to desktop. There is also a misconception about PPC where businesses think it's good enough just to run an ad and get it out in front of everyone. You could call it the spray and pray approach, right? This can kind of work if you have enough money, but if you want to be efficient with your PPC budget, go back to your goals, go back to the personas, go back to what you're trying to achieve. Think about the patient journey and tailor your ads and landing pages accordingly. Answer the questions of your audience, right? We go back to that story at the beginning of Brian. What happens if he was directed to the homepage of the website? Do you think it would have had the same impact as it did being directed to Wyatt's story? Probably not. He probably would have just bounced and clicked the back button, put his phone back in his pocket, and probably would have had Terry have her surgeries and all that back at the hospital where she was delivered. But because they answered his questions, and because more importantly, they connected with him very, very quickly, they were able to earn his business. Think through this. Don't spray and pray. Connect and go back to your business goals. Connection point number two, again, in no particular order. Connecting with those people who are searching for you by name. Remember, having this aspect of your digital campaign dialed in and running at its optimum will make sure that you secure and own your referral base, right? You probably have business development reps. You have doctors that are whining and dining other doctors. You're spending a lot of time and resources on establishing referral sources. But sometimes you don't see where those referrals can drop out, right? Because if you don't have this dialed in and don't have this up to date, then that referral could get frustrated and end up going to your competition. Seemingly simple things like name, address, and phone number, they're often out of place and inaccurate, which drastically impacts your patient experience. Think about it from your perspective. How frustrated are you when you Google a restaurant or you pick up the phone and that restaurant is now out of business? Or you drive there, and even worse, you drive there and it's closed. And you go back to Google and it says, hey, it's open right now. That's a frustrating experience, and it makes you not want to go back. You'll be surprised if you do a listing scan for most orthopedic organizations, how many doctors have claimed some of those important listings. You see top 3 listings, and sometimes they're taken care of, but then you keep going down and you dive a little deeper and you see Dr. Smith over here and you see Dr. John over here. He's claimed that listing. He has a different address. He has a different phone number. That's confusing. Oh, and by the way, this impacts your SEO ranking. Make sure this is dialed in. This is simple. There are partners that will do this for you. And this honestly should be one of the first things you do. Protect your referrals, make sure that patient experience is great, and standardize everything from a listing point of view across the web. Connection point number 3, guys, social media. Promote your services to those who don't know they need your help, right? Social media has allowed people to connect digitally with one another, spanning thousands of miles with an ease of a mobile phone, right? You're probably going to pick up your mobile phone now and go on Facebook. It allows us to connect with our friends, share stories, share images, share and consume a wide variety of content. On top of this, it has allowed businesses like you to get your name in front of your ideal patients and ideal clients to a shocking degree. When you know what your client looks like and the personas that you're going after and what they're interested in, where they hang out, you can get in front of them in a very effective way, right? So let's go back to the business goals. You've established your business goals and you've written out your personas. You've worked out what those personas are. Now you can get in front of those ideal personas on social media. You can get in front of these people before they even know they need your services. You can expose them to your brand so when they do need your services, they know about you. They've already connected with you. Think about all the sports groups, the leagues, the golf clubs, the tennis clubs, golf clubs out there. They all have a page with members and followers on Facebook. This here on the right-hand side is my rugby club. There's 450, 500 members in this club. We live here in Orange County. Most are higher income individuals. I've had 3 orthopedic surgeries and I'm 32 years old. I have not seen one ad targeting our group of people on Facebook. It would just make sense. How do you be successful? Again, you've got to go back to your playbook. If you know all this and you've written all this out and you've taken the time to do your research, you can go out and you can target these people. But you have to make sure you connect. Don't just target these people blindly and don't just not think through this. Provide them value, genuine value. Establish them as the hero. Solve their problems. By doing this, you are connecting and proving that you have the expertise, that you value them as an individual, that you value them as a patient of yours, and that you are willing and very capable to help. Social media is a great way to target those people top of the funnel, bring them down to the bottom of the funnel, and get them to pick you. But don't do this blindly. Remember, everything is about connecting. Content, connection point number 4 that we're going to talk about. Connect with the patients looking to educate themselves and who are looking for answers. Relevant content is the best way for you to connect with your potential patient base and to build trust. Whether it's video or text, doing this right, by providing value and answering questions will allow you to connect with that patient base. 2019, by the way, is going to be the year of video. Get some of your patients out. Get some of your patients in front of the camera. Let them tell the story of how good you are and their experience at your organization. Hearing success stories from the source itself can be hard to trust, right? It would be like me sitting and saying Scorpion is the best. But if one of our clients was here telling you that Scorpion is great, it's easier to trust that person. See if you can do that. Get those potential patients in front of the camera. Get them to tell their story and push that out to the marketplace. It's going to allow you to connect through content. But you have to think this through. Don't just create content to create content, right? That doesn't serve anybody. And I'm going to say this again, but you've got to go back to your goals. Everything you do should go back to your goals and go back to the personas. And that's why it is so important to sit down and spend the time on that, to lay everything out. Think about the consumer journey and develop the content to fit. The more specific you can get, the better. If knee replacement is a priority and something that you're focusing on, attracting new patients for, develop specific content for knee surgery. But when Brian clicked on the Bilateral Clubfoot ad, that example again, if that wasn't specific to him, he most likely probably wouldn't convert it. Think through this in. Develop multiple different pieces of content to go back and align with your business goals. This will help you connect, and this will help you guys convert more of your marketing dollars. It's really straightforward. It's really as simple as that. So you've got your connection points. Those are just some of them. Remember, there's multiple different channels, but at the very least, you should have those areas dialed in and up to scratch. The next piece of the puzzle, and this is where the rubber meets the road, is measure the results and track the progress. Put a strategy together, execute it, measure it, evaluate it, adjust, and repeat. Without data, there is no accountability. Without data, adjustments are meaningless. You're doing it on feeling, you're not doing it on fact. You can be doing all of the other things right, but if you're not doing this, you're not going to sustain the results that you're getting. And to be fair, this isn't something that you can accomplish right out of the box, right? Like Google Analytics, there's some good stuff in there, but that only tracks one channel. Remember, a patient, before picking up the phone, is going to visit you in multiple different places. They're going to do their research. Make sure you're tracking all of these channels. Make sure you're understanding how they're engaging with you on the marketing campaigns that you're putting out there, but also on your website. And then you can measure and you can adjust and you can show a true ROI on your investment. Make sure you're tracking from the time someone finds you all the way to them picking up the phone and becoming a new patient as well, right? Measuring the success of a campaign based on website visits isn't going to do you any good. You should know how many people visited your website, how many picked up the phone, how many came in for a consultation, and how many of those consultations came in for a new surgery. If you know that, then you can optimize your entire campaign based on what's working and what's not. If you're optimizing based on website clicks and visits to your website, how do you know if they're picking up the phone and they're actually becoming new patients? Get this dialed in and get this into play, and you will be successful. And what happens when you are successful? By putting all of these together, by connecting with the patients, by establishing your patients as the hero. Orthopedic, Ortho Texas, 306% ROI. Results from just 1 month, 93 net new patients, 184 appointments, 16 surgeries, 460% ROI. Are you that granular when you're measuring and adjusting your campaigns? Are you knowing how many appointments you're getting, how many net new patients, and how many surgeries you're getting from your campaign? You should. And that'll help you be successful when you set up and you run these marketing campaigns on an ongoing basis. The ones that own this game and win this game are not the best doctors. The best doctors don't win, not the best technology. You could have a machine at your organization. It could be the best in class, could be the best procedures, whatever that is. If nobody knows about it, you will not win. Not the best clinical outcomes, not the best customer service, right? The ones that own this game are the ones that connect. They're the ones that won't connect with their market the best. They connect in many different places. They reduce uncertainty. They get that person and that potential patient to pick up the phone and schedule a consultation. If you connect and you think about connecting first, and then you leverage the tools of marketing to connect, you will win this game. Some key takeaways today. Your patients are the hero. I can't stress that so much. Try it. If you're not doing it now, try it. And I know how those conversations can go with physicians. I know that personality that typically comes across. But if you take a step back and try to establish your patients as the hero, you will go a complete 360 to what you're doing now if you're not doing it. Serve the patients first. Marketing is about making a connection, right? Leverage the tools of marketing to make a connection. Measure and adjust, measure and adjust, measure and adjust. Be nimble. Remember, the website is part of that conversation as well. People visiting your website, you need them to convert. If you can't be nimble with the website, then it's time to rethink what you're doing from that side of things. And then find a partner that helps. There are partners out there that have done this before. They have success in the marketplace, and they're not learning on your dime. They know these channels. They have the data to back it up, and they can go out and they can establish a winning campaign that is going to bring those new patients in the door. Think about this and let us know if you have any questions. So we kept it short and sharp, Rod. Is there any questions that have come in?
Yeah. There's we've had some really good interactions. I've had some good interactions just on the chat, the question and answer here. First of all, great job, Jono. A couple of key takeaways. Kay Tucker said she loved the get out of your head advice. That really resonated with her. And then Andrew Woolley said, he likes, we often view our referral patterns as linear, and it helps to see the complicated mental, physician, the emotional process, the life that a referral takes on. It seems as though we have much less control than we think we do as a health system.
100%.
I thought that was, it is messy, right? And so just being able to talk about it, what that patient journey is, there's a lot of value there. One question that came up is, what should I be posting on social media to generate new business?
Yeah, that's a good question. So remember, and I'm going to say this again, you got to go back to your goals, right? And that's going to allow you to put together a social media strategy that is going to, get you from A to B. But remember, it's not just about posting on social media. If you just have a Facebook page and you're posting on your Facebook page, the only people that are going to see that are the audience that already know about you now, right? If you have 300 people following you, you post on social media and on your Facebook page, only those 300 people are going to see it unless someone shares it. If you are going to put together a social media strategy, make sure you're boosting your posts. Make sure you're putting some advertising dollars behind your content so you can get out in front of those personas that you've already established. If you don't put dollars behind it, then people that know about you now are the only ones that are seeing your posts. And if you're putting the resources into developing meaningful content, you want those potential patients and the audience to see it. So if anything, from a social media standpoint, make sure you're boosting those posts if you are trying to acquire new patients from your social media campaign.
Yeah. Thank you. Another question in from Dirk Hall. What unified technology platform do you think is best for the data collection and measurement so customers can see the digital marketing, how it's tracked by appointments, et cetera, phone calls, bookings?
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say the Scorpion's got that. To be honest, I don't know of many third-party providers that have all of this in one platform. Oftentimes, there's multiple different technologies. And the tough part about multiple different technology is you're trying to get them to work in unison, right? And that can always be a tough ask. You can always lose attribution with your marketing dollar if you have these technologies and they're not functioning all together. Honestly, I would say let's have a conversation if that's something that you're interested in, because again, I don't want to plug Scorpion too much, but we do have that technology platform that looks at all of this stuff. And it can be fairly pricey if you're going out and you're actually purchasing technology as well. So I can follow up with you after the webinar and give you some more information there.
Here's another question, and we kind of answer this together. I think it's interesting. Ashley Stanko says, any ortho-specific service line ideas? So like what are we seeing in, kind of add some more meat to this question. What are we seeing on the orthopedic side in terms of, what specifically works for an orthopedic practice as opposed to other, other healthcare service lines? And I know you and I know, there's a bunch of different personas out there. So maybe we can just show some different examples of like, how strategy might adjust even within orthopedics.
Yeah, I think if you look at myself personally, right, I'm 32 years old. I'm a professional. I play a lot of sports. I work out every day. I play rugby on the weekends. I'm probably that ideal persona to go after now, right? I'm someone that may not need surgery today, but as I get older and I start to get these knee problems and things like that, then I'm starting to become more aware of what I need to do to my body to keep it in tip-top shape. So I'm a very different persona to target than someone that is 65 to 69 years old that has already been playing sports and they're struggling to walk around, they're struggling to get up the stairs with they may need a hip replacement. Those are two very different personas that you're going after. And we have two different behaviors online, right? I like these websites. I like these activities. I work, on this side of things. Where someone that's 69 years old, they have a very different approach and they utilize the internet very, very differently, right? So you got to kind of weigh that up and who you're going after. Rod, do you have anything else to input there?
Yeah, I kind of go back to my dad who had knee surgery back in the 60s, and he's still, so he's in his 70s, back in the 1960s, not when he was in his 60s. So he's 70 now, in his 70s, and he has a lot of knee pain. So he's and it's painful. He's an ideal candidate for total joint replacement, right? But he's not going online searching for total joint replacement. It's just, he's not, that's not in his, it's not on his priority list. But he's on Facebook all the time, looking at pictures of my kids, looking at pictures of, my sister's kids. He's on Facebook. Even when he comes to visit, he's on his tablet on Facebook. It's an opportunity there to just serve him as a targeted demographic with information about total joint replacement. So the journey is different. It's not targeting the search total joint replacement, because he's not looking for that. What he is most in need of is information. And are you, the question of, are you a candidate for total joint replacement? Here are what the best candidates look like. How has total joint replacement changed in the past 3 years? Those are types of topics that goes back to your point of content, right? Serving content to that particular demographic you're serving it to my father in a much different way than you would serve it to me. So yeah, I'm in agreement with you on that.
Yeah, totally.
One other question was, are there strategies for connecting with particular populations, like specific insurance coverages or specific commercial insurance versus other insurance? Getting that tactical.
Yeah, so that's a good question, actually. So it's very hard to target insurances specifically, but if you know the types of people that typically have a type of insurance, then you can make an educated guess on how to go after those people, right? So someone that has a PPO insurance is typically a higher income individual. They're typically, I would say, and I'm guessing here, they're a little bit younger because they want more choice when it comes to their healthcare provider, right? So if you're wanting to, let's say, target those PPO insurances, look at those types of people, look at, what age groups they are, how they interact. It all goes back to building that persona. And then you can target certain zip codes, based on where you think these people live, right? Again, if you're targeting people in Orange County, they're more likely to have the insurances that you guys are seeking for, or they're more likely to pay out of pocket. If you're targeting people in, Compton, just for polar opposite, they're less likely to have those insurances. They're more likely to have Medicare and Medicaid, right? So I would say understanding the types of people that have the insurances that, you guys cover, then you can go after and you can target those people.
Cool. Yeah, I think there's some more questions here. Some of them are a little bit more detailed than probably we could cover in the next 5 or 10 minutes. So I think if there continue to put the questions in here. We'll continue to take them. If there's something specific, we can get back to you and answer that more specifically. But John, I'm going to switch it back over to you for the final piece here, and maybe end with 5 minutes early here for give people a 5-minute break before they go on to the next thing.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, mate. So let's dive into the next slide. So remember we discussed, mentioned an offer at the beginning of this presentation. So we're going to take the first 25 people that write us at ortho@scorpion.co and with the subject line listings. And what we will do here is we're going to go out and we're going to pull a report of all your online listings, right? We're going to look at your market and we're going to pull that report and show you how you were listed online. What to include, this will include your business name, your business address, your phone number, right? So write in, if you're interested in how you were listed on all of those different places on the web, write into ortho@scorpion.co with the subject line listings, and we'll get that report to you, back to you as soon as we can. Another offer that we have here is we will actually run a digital analysis of the competitors in your marketplace. If that is interesting to you, write into ortho@scorpion.co with the subject line beat the competition. And we'll go out, we'll look at your marketplace, we'll look at your competitors in the marketplace, and we'll tell you what they're doing. If you have a good idea of what your competitors are doing in the marketplace, it's going to help you guys establish what you need to do to compete or to beat them from a digital marketing perspective. So again, ortho@scorpion.co, subject line listings. And if you want both, please send 2 separate emails, ortho@scorpion.co with the subject line beat the competition. And we'll set that up and we'll get that to you as soon as possible. I will pass it back to Beckers. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to listen in, and hopefully you got some value out of this presentation. Thanks, Beckers team.
Great. I want to thank Jono and Rod for their excellent presentation and Scorpion for sponsoring today's webinar. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we look forward to having you join us for future webinars.